Hey everyone! I've always thought that the Star Wars prequel trilogy was pretty good. Not as good as the original trilogy, but still alright. On stream, I went into ranking the Star Wars movies and discussed what I would have made the trilogy actually about, and the difference to make the trilogy even better. If you like Star Wars, consider subscribing. I love the movies, and I have a full-length video on all my thoughts on all the movies on my channel as well. Alright, to the video. My personal opinion on how the prequel trilogy should have been is not that Obi-Wan was Anakin's master and Anakin was a Padawan. I feel like, and maybe this is like my love of like Harry Potter, it absolutely could be, but I would have liked to have seen both of them sort of being Padawans. Like, Phantom Menace can happen. Qui-Gon's the master. Obi-Wan is like his young Padawan that accidentally gets somehow like wrapped into the whole narrative of it. But Anakin's backstory is not necessarily explicitly... Oh, sorry, Phantom Menace, I totally forgot about the pod race. The pod race is fucking gangster, bro. The pod race is amazing. But yeah, you see like Qui-Gon the master, he should have been the main focal point, right? Because you're gonna think that the movie's about him, and somehow Obi-Wan being like a student. Let's say Qui-Gon's 50 in the movie, Obi-Wan's like 30, make Obi-Wan 20, and then make Anakin like 15. Okay, so then Anakin's always trying to like punch up to Obi-Wan because he has this like internal jealousy, internal like lust for power, and Obi-Wan gets to go and do this mission that makes him jealous, and he gets to fight a Sith Lord that they've only ever heard about from like stories from old or whatever, because all the Sith disappeared. And ever since then there's like a rivalry, and then because Qui-Gon dies and because Obi-Wan defeated a Sith Lord, they make him master, and then he's in charge of like passing the information on to Anakin because of the age, because Anakin is a troubled student, because other teachers are having issues with him, and Anakin's like almost way better than everybody, except he just doesn't listen properly. He's very obnoxious. Let's say he's an ADD kid, and so they're like, well, let's put him out in the field. Let's go and do that. At the same time that the Qui-Gon Jinn versus Maul thing, again, that you'd need to somehow orchestrate the Clone Wars in that. If we're sticking with the fact of like the first 3 movies, you stick them in, that sort of information unravels. So you see them in class together for the first movie, and you sort of learn about the Jedi stuff, and then the grand reveal is that the Sith are back. The second movie, Attack of the Clones, you can essentially have it the same, except Obi-Wan and Anakin are like older now. Obviously, Anakin is, let's say, 25. Obi-Wan is like 35 or whatever I said, 5 years difference, he's 30. They're sort of like aging up, and what's happening is that Count Dooku, you go into a little bit more of Count Dooku's lore, is that after Qui-Gon Jinn fell, Dooku realized that what Qui-Gon's been saying, that the Jedi Council is wrong, that there should never be a good and a bad side, that they should always live in the middle, because the balance of the Force would then, by making a good, it would make bad due to the balancing of the Force. Qui-Gon sort of goes into Count Dooku sort of goes into this gray area and accidentally ends up finding Palpatine and gets sort of mind controlled by him, and Qui-Gon was taught by Dooku and therefore affects Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan considers that perhaps Dooku somehow trapped both of them versus Maul and led to their downfall. So Obi-Wan finds some information while they're like out in space, or they're training with Anakin, and they catch on to this and they go fly after him, and they realize that there's this giant fucking army being built, like manufactured, sort of like in the scene in Attack of the Clones where they go through the droid factory. And then they race on back to Coruscant and like tell the Jedi or whatever, and Yoda and Mace Windu come up with this plan of like, well, Dooku's doing all this, what the fuck is going on with all this, so on and so forth. And while investigating it, they realize that Dooku commissioned, or I mean you could even say that Sifo Dyas ordered a bunch of clones, and then they look into this as like, why is there 2 armies being built? Nobody's at war with anything. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Somebody's pulling the strings. What in the fuck is going on? And the Kaminoites are like, yo, your clones are ready. It's already been paid for. Like, where do you want them? We're gonna deploy them in the spaceships. Anakin races off. Obi-Wan goes and chases him. They meet Padme along the way, and Padme's like this girl or whatever that's like a princess, and they like use the ship. After Obi-Wan and Anakin meet up, Obi-Wan scolds Anakin. They get aboard this ship that's like carrying the princess or whatever, because like a first batch of fucking army droids come and like attack it, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin absolutely fucking butter up these droids. Padme's like, holy fuck, look at this Jedi, he's so cute, he's so hot. And because Anakin is a jealous, power lusting person, he's interested in her because she's interested in him and not Obi-Wan, who's always been the shining star of not only the council but like the entirety of like the Jedi Order. Everybody loves Obi-Wan, and all of a sudden somebody likes Anakin, so he pursues her a little bit. And while she's flying, they come across the planet or whatever in hyperspace. They get some like reading, and then they go back to this planet and realize there's another droid factory there. And then we begin the Attack of the Clones, basically the scene from Attack of the Clones. They all get captured, all the droids fucking come out, Dooku's there, they go to fight him, and then Yoda senses it, they send all the clones, and then the big fucking war happens. That's basically what I would change. And then Revenge of the Sith can basically play out as normal, all the emotions make sense, all that shit's amazing, and then we move on. That's what I would do with the prequel trilogy. I would start it out, they're closer in age, make them in school. Don't make Anakin 10 and Obi-Wan 20, and then Obi-Wan 40 and then Anakin 30. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, right? That's my version. I know you guys are like commenting like crazy. That's my version of like what I would have liked to have seen in hindsight, having watched the movie. Because I think Phantom Menace is good, but I think that so much of it is garbage and sucks that you can essentially just watch the action bits in the third act and you can get away with it.